Maja Bundt is the head cyber and digital solutions at Swiss Re Reinsurance. In this role, she is responsible to further develop and implement the cyber strategy and to drive digital innovation. And Maja is also elected member of the World Economic Forum Future Council for Cybersecurity and supports a number of national and international initiatives around the digital economy and cyber risks. Simone Frömming manages the key account business for Microsoft. She studied economics and mechanical engineering in Hanover. After graduation, she landed in the mainframe computing division of IBM and programmed accounting solutions in the insurance industry. Due to her ambition and high commitment, she became one of the first female sales executives in IT at the age of 30. And now I would like to hand over to you, Maja and Simone.
Hello, everybody. My name is Maja Bundt, and I'm a woman in cyber.
Yeah, my name, as introduced, is Simone Frömming, and as introduced, I'm a member of the executive board in Switzerland, more driving sales for key accounts, but my relation to cyber is really cyber resiliency. Of course, only 38% of my customers are prepared for a breach, and that is causing some issues.
Great. So I've listened to Miriam's speech earlier, and I think she has made a lot of really, really good points. And some of them we will make again. And the first one really is that cyber can be very diverse. You've seen that. That's also in our title. It's colorful. I think sometimes it's being perceived as technical only, and that can scare away some people. But again, as Miriam already said, the beauty is in the interdisciplinary approach here. And there are many, many different roles and many different skills that are needed. And in fact, we believe that diversity of thought and experience is absolutely needed, is a necessity to solve today's many challenges in that field. So in short, there is no one way to make a difference. And we thought it's probably best to just give you a few examples of all the different shades and colors in the cyber world. And we've brought you not 50, but 5 of those colorful shades of amazing women in cyber from our organizations. Simone, you work at Microsoft, Microsoft being one of the biggest and most valuable companies in the world. Can you tell us a little bit about Microsoft first?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Maja. So as you can see, Microsoft is also a super colorful company. And I think that's also the reason that we can attract this fantastic cyber women. So in 2020, Microsoft achieved a revenue of $143 billion. And for the moment, we are employing above 170,000 employees. And I think Microsoft did also a fantastic investment in cyber. So we are owning a threat intelligence center, separate cyber defense operations center, a Microsoft security defense center, and a digital crimes unit. So I think here we have really engineering and specialists, which are all headquartered in Redmond in the US. And I think the profiles I like to share are always belonging in this certain unit. So from that perspective, we'll watch out for that. And it's also interesting, of course, some of the units have direct interactions with our customers. So really taking the plane if a cyber attack is happening. So some of the ladies are very active.
Awesome. Yeah, you've brought a couple of great examples, I think, of amazing women in cyber. Let's start with Anne then.
Yeah, so I think Anne is really our most famous woman in Microsoft. So Anne is a board member and directly reporting to our CEO, Satya Nadella. Her full function is called Cyber Solution Group Corporate Vice President. And from that perspective, she is driving the overall strategy, go-to-market strategy for our cybersecurity and compliance solutions. And you can imagine that it's also very engineering relevant. I think it's very rare that a woman like Anne is leading such a unit, with big responsibility for our future products, but for sure also for the overall customer satisfaction. And she was able to build that because she is really a high-performing person, building high-performance teams. And I think she's also owning a digital transformation expertise, which really allowed her to build this cloud security capabilities. And prior to joining Microsoft, she gained insights at the customer side as a CEO in the US of Boundless Special. She was also a CEO in a different company, and I think she also had the worldwide identity and fraud sales responsibility with RSA security. And I think that is giving her the competencies she's now really executing on. And I think, interestingly, she really had the Bachelor of Political Science and Communication. So I think not a typical profile. And during her MBA, she had a concentration in statistics. So beside really driving the strategy inside of Microsoft, helping all our customers, she also has several board advisor appointments in the Security Advisor Alliance, in the Financial Services Information Sharing and Analysis Center. She is also in the Executive Women Forum, and is also a special co-executive sponsor for the Microsoft Glam Group. So I think a broad set of competence, and if you have the opportunity to see a speaking engagement with Anne, really make it happen. It's worth it.
Wow, what a career, Simone. Very impressive. But you have brought more than examples, more than Anne. I think the next one is Sarah, right?
Yes, correct. And Sarah is a little bit, let's say, in the reporting line from Anne, but her profile is different. So she's a Chief Security Advisor. And it's a little bit more European. So Sarah is located in the UK. And I think she's really a risk taker. So her own saying is she's a self-confessed rebel in IT. And this really seeking out for opportunities, taking changes, being an optimist, passion for pushing boundaries, that was bringing her in this Chief Security Advisor role, where she is not so much headquartered or engineering focused. So she is covering strategic accounts across Europe and really helping them for strategizing their security strategy and cloud adoption. And surprisingly, she started this direction in 1999, where she was responsible for a millennium bug for Thames Water, where she really figured out, okay, what security failures can really mean to her. And out of that, she went into this cybersecurity role. And prior to Microsoft, she worked for AXA, Ernst & Young, Fujitsu, the London Stock Exchange. And I think she is super influential. So she was ranked also as one of the most influential women in the UK tech. And I think that's something she really can be very proud of from my perspective.
Awesome. I totally count her as an insurance person as well, if she has worked at AXA at some point.
Yes.
So, awesome. And great to hear also her kind of way of getting there and what she did. So many different roles actually, and starting with something that had her interest, sounds like. Good. And finally, you brought Leslie along.
Yes. And Leslie is a Chief Security Advisor in the Cybersecurity Solution team. So I perceive her quite often indirectly, because she is a person sitting in the plane, flying over if a customer is having a cyber attack. So, and unfortunately, some of our Swiss customers were also exposed to that. And then she's really belonging to a team which is going on site and helping these customers. So, as I said, really, she is sitting in the plane, flying over, investigate and recover the attacks. And you can imagine if a cyber attack is mentioned in the press, that probably Leslie is sitting again in the plane really to help out here. And I think it's also very interesting, of course, her profile or university degree is a geologist. So she is not a typical IT background, but she joined Microsoft 17 years ago and really started in an industry exposure. And then with upcoming security incidents, she really focused on building her skills in that direction. And I think with the forensic expertise, I think it's a high specialization from my perspective. And she also studied at Cranfield University and ended with a forensic computing degree.
Super. Yeah, there you see that actually you can pivot your career quite significantly, right? From geology to being, you know, one of the topmost cyber experts and emergency response people in the world. That's quite a journey, I would say, huh?
Yeah, that's really true. But that's only one part of the game. So I expect you also have super cool women at cyber at Swiss Re. So what's up with Swiss Re?
Sure, we do. As maybe one or two words about Swiss Re, as Microsoft is one of the largest technology companies, Swiss Re is actually one of the largest reinsurers. And obviously, we don't have quite as many people. I think it's an order of magnitude smaller. We have about 13,000 people on a global scale working for Swiss Re in 29 countries currently. And since Swiss Re is headquartered in Zurich, people in Switzerland usually know us. That's not always the case everywhere in the world, since reinsurance is sometimes a little bit obscure or obscured by being a B2B business. But especially in the Zurich area, people know Swiss Re, if not only for their good staff restaurant. Yeah, basically, what we do is we insure insurers. That might sound slightly boring to some people, but I tell you, it's super interesting and it's an extremely relevant business. So that's about Swiss Re.
So, and from that perspective, I expect you personally have interesting cyber women in your team, Maya.
Totally do. I totally do. And I've actually brought two of my team members. So the first one is Evgenia. Evgenia is our lead cyber actuary. That is something that is very insurance driven, right? Actually, I think it can't get more insurance than being an actuary. And she really is the one to model the risk, come up with tools that allow us to write those risks, work with clients on it. So she has a broad responsibility in a team that is spread around the world. And she is really the one woman who is responsible for the risk modeling on the costing side when we are costing reinsurance contracts, but also primary policies. Now, in her typical day, she would spend time with customers, for example, helping them to shape our customers, the insurers, cyber products. So the costing of that, you know, how much do you have to pay for a cyber policy that kind of protects a business against cyber risks, for example. She is talking to third-party vendors. We work with different modeling vendors around the world. So you always also have to be very much up to date because the risk is so fluent, it changes so quickly that it's extremely important to also keep up with what is happening all the time in terms of threat landscape, but also in terms of what kind of tools are state-of-the-art tools out there. And yeah, then she's still building methodologies and tools for us and for our clients. She's a real recognized expert in her field within our company, but also out in the industry. Now, how did she get here, right? What made her become our lead cyber actuary? She has a master's degree from the ETH in Zurich in mathematics and statistics. So that's a very good basis for becoming an actuary. And then she basically went into reinsurance, was working in different areas first, but had always an interest in something new, the innovative pieces. And she actively moved into cyber, first as a kind of stretch assignments and a rotation, and then she was able to move over completely. And with time, she built up her status and her reputation there. Evgenia was born in Russia, is a country where a lot of things are happening anyways, also in cyberspace. She speaks obviously Russian and 5 other European languages, which is great in an international context. What makes her successful, I think, obviously she has all the tools and the education that is needed, but also she has a lot of passion for loss modeling and a lot of passion for cyber insurance. So I think those 2 things really make her successful beyond what she brings in terms of kind of standard skills.
That sounds really amazing. So, but as it's so impressive, I think even you have a second very impressive profile. So I would be eager to hear about Imene.
Yeah. So great. So that's Imen, and I probably need to explain the picture first of all. That picture we did when we were doing a photo shoot for a presentation which we were calling cyber myth busting, because there are so many myths around cyber insurance in the market. So we were kind of borrowing my kids' gun arsenal, and we were taking pictures to kind of shoot the myths that are out there. Anyways, Imen has a very different background. She has studied electrical engineering and information technology at the ETH. She also has studied communication systems engineering at the EPFL. She was born in Algeria, raised in France, studied in Switzerland. So also she is a very kind of a global citizen. She also speaks 4 European languages very fluently, which allows her to be excellent in her job and in her role. And what she's doing now, what her role is currently, is she's a senior cyber solutions manager. And what does that mean? Now, we as a reinsurer, we kind of help other insurers with their cyber products. For example, if they want to build a new product, a cyber insurance product, we, for example, could help them do this. Now, what Imen is doing, Imen is basically spearheading those efforts, talking to clients around the world, from South America to North Africa to Asia, and basically not only selling the solution so we can implement, but also working with the client hand in hand so we can adjust the solutions in a way that it makes sense, for those insurers, that they have a product they can really go out with and that are adjusted to their customer needs. So that is what Imen is doing. Before she moved over to this more client management and type of role, she managed a technology solution in my team. So also here there is different skills that she brings with her that allows her to be very versatile and look at problems from different angles, right? I think her kind of secret of success is that she has this kind of scientific background, right, and this understanding of information technology, and she is able to combine that really with the skills that she has acquired during her time when she was working in consulting. Before she joined my team, she was working at Deloitte. So this combination makes her a really kind of versatile team member, and that allows her to basically help make the world more cyber resilient, at least to that degree that we help in that space as an reinsurance company. So yeah, that's Imen.
Impressive. I really like the picture a lot. Yeah, I think that's already our contribution to 5 shades. So I hope it was impressive and is giving some creativity and ideas. And we try to summarize a little bit what is making a difference. And I think listening to Maya, we are also hearing speaking different languages is make it easier to connect also to customers. But besides that, we really think have seen a lot of women with courage, with passion, not holding back, really trying it out, and being a rebel, entering this market. We also learned it's a combination of hard and soft skills. So I think especially the last example of Imene, we see, okay, she learned stuff in consulting. She's applying and sensing that now with hard skills in cyber. And I think as the other speakers mentioned as well, it's sometimes even a little bit harder to be successful and to be perceived as successful as a female. And to survive in that setup, I think Maya and myself clearly thinking you need a growth mindset. Of course, as always, there may be failure out of personal skill or a customer requirement, and stand up again and go even bigger next time. And I think that's also something really needed, for example, in Microsoft, lifelong learning. And I think everybody of you know that cyber security is becoming much more complex and agile. So you always have to be on top with your knowledge, and you also need a strong community really to share and to learn from that perspective. So Maya, anything you like to add to this magic 3 bubbles?
Yeah, I think my main point is if you're really interested and you have some transferable skills, I think the cyber world is so wide. I think what we brought here is, kind of a technology company that has a wide variety of roles, even in a technology company. Then we have an insurance company or reinsurance company, which is a totally different field, and we still need, same kind of skills as well. And there are thousands other industries, sub-industries, companies in there where this is needed, with the knowledge that the cybersecurity or cyber resilience challenge is one of the greatest challenges of our time. I think it's a really good field to go into, and I do believe that many people have many different backgrounds that would actually add to solving some of those challenges, not only to the technical ones. So yeah, that would be my final summary of that.
Thank you, Maya. And from that perspective, I think we're at the end of our presentation and ready to have Q&A for the remaining 6 minutes.
Yeah, thank you, Maya and Simone. That was very interesting. There are already 2 questions. The first one is, how important is cybersecurity to Microsoft?
Easy to answer. It's super important because, as I shared, it's a discipline for a big IT tech company like Microsoft, but even more important, it's prior number 1 for most of our customers in all industries. And from that perspective, it's a key competency and product solution offering we have to build to help our customers.
All right. You shared a lot of fantastic role models. Thanks for that. Who is or was your personal role model?
Yeah, so as I'm a salesperson, I must admit I started my career in IBM. And as a young, talented female person, I had the pleasure to be mentored by Lou Gerstner, which was the CEO of Microsoft that time. And for me, he is still my role model because even in super critical situations, he was able to shape a vision and was passionate, and with his leadership, he always made us go the extra mile and even extra mile to make it happen. And so it was a good and perfect example of strong leadership.
I don't think that I have one role model that I can name. I have a lot of people that I admire because they are really very visionary in their role, or they are extremely good people manager and are able to bring the best out of people and thus form really, really strong teams. I admire that a lot. People with oversight and a certain kind of knowledge and also robustness, right? In terms of my career and where I came to, I must admit the cyber insurance market just became something a few years ago, and I was basically part of that. So there wasn't one person out there that was, the shining example. So it was more taking kind of little bits of everything, keeping eyes open and learning from good people in other disciplines that made my way, I would say. Hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Maya, Simone, have you previously worked together, or where does your relationship come from?
So we have met, I think, for the first time in a prep call for this Women in Cyber session. I think we hit it off. I hope we will work together in the future. However, if we don't work together in the future, I very much hope that we will stay in contact and now be connected forever, ever on forward.
Absolutely.
That's one of the nice things about these events as well, is in increasing your network. That's great. As a speaker, as a also participant, usually I think it's way harder in this virtual format, unfortunately, because I do believe that is one of the great benefits of these events, and especially I think in an area where there are still way too few women, it's good to know each other so one can help each other as well. I don't know, Simone, if you want to.
I fully agree. And I think, it's nearly an accident that we never met before. Of course, for sure, Swiss Re is one of our important customers for Microsoft. So I think that's a sign that there was no cyber attack. Otherwise, we probably would have met before. No, I agree. And I think sometimes I think having this female network, it's also helping, and as said before by other speakers, for mentorship. Of course, sometimes I think female frustration is also coming up due to a lack of empathy, sometimes with male peers or employees. And I think it's always also a good sharing of experience to manage how empathy is playing around, also in building additional motivation come through. And from that perspective, I think having a strong female network is really a gift. And we always should build on it.
Thank you, Maya and Simone.
Thank you so much. Bye-bye.